Welcome back to Market Headline. Minister of Investment reported 223 trillion rupiah investment realization in the second quarter of 2021. This achievement grew by 16.2% compared to the same realization last year, which was only 191.9 trillion rupiah. Minister of Investment Bahlil Lahadalia said the positive investment performance in the April to June period was in line with domestic economic recovery. Thus, investors are more confident to invest in Indonesia. The investment value comes from domestic investment of 106.2 trillion rupiah and also foreign investment of 116.8 trillion rupiah.
Ini sebelum PPKM, itu realisasi investasi kita itu sebesar 223 triliun. Ya. Itu tumbuh 1,5% secara Q&Q. Karena di 2021 kuartal pertama itu sebesar 219 triliun. Dan year on year-nya itu 16,2%.
Based on the business sector, investment realization in the second quarter was dominated by 5 sectors. First, housing, industrial, and office area by 14%. Second, base metal industry, metal goods, and non-machinery and equipment contributed around 13.2%. And third, transportation, warehouse, and telecommunications by 12.5%. From Jakarta, Adi Firmansyah, IDX Channel. After unprecedented pandemic-driven swings in the global financial market last year, 2021 was never going to be dull. And so it has been proven. Halfway through 2021, many investments come to Indonesia as the economy is in the stage of recovery globally. And therefore, in the first graphic, I will explain to you about the investment realization in Indonesia in the first half of 2021. Let's stick it down in the first graphic. Here it is. Through the first graphic, we can see the conditions of Indonesia's investment realizations through the halfway of 2021 and its target. First of all, we can see that the first half of 2021, the realization reached around 442 trillion rupiah. Meanwhile, for the full year target, it is more than 50% of it by 900 trillion rupiah. Let's see if government can catch this up or not. So it means that the achievement met around 49.2% of this year's investment realizations. So yes, we can see that the full year target is 900 trillion rupiah. So it means that the achievement met around 49.2% of this year's investment target of 900 trillion rupiah. Well, it clears that the realizations of investment has not reached the half of the target until the first half of the year. But even so, the Minister of Investment, Bahlil Lahadalia, said that this realization was quite good because it grew around 16% on the annual basis from the first semester of 2020. Well, basically, investment is divided into two parts, the domestic one and the foreign one. Let's see the proportion in the second quarter in the next graphic. Here it is. We can see the proportion of the investment realizations between the domestic one and the foreign one. First of all, we can see that the proportions is largely belongs to foreign investment by 228.5 trillion rupiah. Meanwhile, for the domestic investment, only reached 214.3 trillion rupiah. So it means that the domestic accountability is 48% of the whole investment realization. So we can say that foreign investment is larger than the domestic investment one. But then Bahlil noted that the realizations of this investment comes from the domestic investment by 214 trillion rupiah, or equivalent to 48.4% of the total realization that had entered. So the growth is around about 3.5%. And the rest was filled by the flow of foreign investment, reaching around 228.5 trillion rupiah, or it means that it is around 51.6% of the target, so it grew around 16.8%. And the Minister of Investment, Bahlil Lahadalia, said that this positive investment performance in the April to June period was in line with the domestic economic recovery. Thus, investors are becoming more confident to invest in Indonesia. But based on the location itself, investors' appetite is more to the Java Island compared to other locations. So we can see the comparisons in the next graphic. So here it is through the next graphic. Through your screen, we can see that the investment flow based on the locations, and Java still going to be the majority of it, while the outside Java is around 52% of it. So Java has around 214.53 trillion rupiah investment. Meanwhile, for outside Java, it has 228.23 trillion rupiah. So the proportion, Java Island only dominates around 48% of the whole investment flow in Indonesia. But based on the placement locations, we can see that the investment flow in Java is 214.53 trillion rupiah, or it means that 48%. So in fact, that its growth rose about 2.7%. Meanwhile, investment outside Java reached around 228%, or it would be like 51.5% of the total, and the realizations grew about 17.8% on the annual basis. So based on the business sector, investment realization in the second quarter was dominated by 5 sectors, and I will tell you the 3 sectors itself. The first is housing, industrial, and office areas by 14%. And the second is a base metal industry, metal goods, not machinery and equipment, contributed around 13.3%. And the third is that transportations, warehouse, and telecommunications, that is contributed by around 12.5%. But then the next question is, behind these enormous investment value, other than domestic financing, of course, which country that invests to Indonesia the most? Let's see the next graphic. Here it is. Through your screen, we can see the top foreign investors in Indonesia. The first graphic tells us about how Singapore becomes the top major country that contribute to Indonesia investment. We can see that Singapore contributed around 4.7 billion US dollar only in the first half of 2021, and followed by Hong Kong by 2.3 billion US dollar. China in the third positions by 1.7 billion US dollar. Meanwhile, we can see this European country, Netherlands, belongs in the fourth positions by 1.3 billion rupiah. Meanwhile, South Korea contributed about 1.1 billion US dollar. And here it is the good fact. The fact is that in the first quarter of 2021, the European countries in the top 5 positions were Switzerland. Then the Netherlands topped the 3rd spot in the second quarter of 2021. This exhibited a positive impressions that the international community, particularly European investors, remain confident to invest in Indonesia. And after the withdrawal of the United Kingdom from the European Union on January 2021, the Netherlands is serving as the continent's new investment hub for Indonesia. And yes, viewers, we hope that Indonesia can always catch the investors' appetite, and therefore it can benefit Indonesia's economy as a whole, and moreover, absorb many workers. Stay tuned on Market Headlines, because we will be right back after this quick break.